Hi everyone, so I'm Christina. I was a founding engineer at Cortex, which is an internal developer portal that helps you ship reliable software faster. But really, I like to think of Cortex as a platform for engineering excellence. And today, I want to talk a bit about designing self-service workflows. And really, when you think about designing self-service workflows for engineers, I like to start at the business outcome. So what is the goal that the business is trying to achieve? A lot of us are getting ready to do a lot of shopping at Black Friday. Maybe you work at one of these e-commerce companies. And so maybe right now you're really focused on quality and customer experience. And that typically translates into a reliability engineering initiative, where maybe you're really focused on what that process is for when an incident happens. How do you get back up as quickly as possible, and making sure that people acknowledge that page really quickly. Or maybe your company is, as all of us are, really focused on AI and innovation and unlocking time to market. So how do you actually speed up developer productivity and focus on, when you're scaffolding a new service, having a really easy way to do that for engineers, or scaffolding new infrastructure? Or maybe you're focused on cost and efficiency. Maybe the company is really focused on reducing costs. And even though that's not necessarily something that hits customers directly, it's something that is a business goal that there are engineering initiatives around. And so once you figure out what that business goal is, how do you actually tie that back to your platform goals? So how do you think about building self-service workflows that really take into account what the bottlenecks are, that you assess the risks and decide, this is what I want to build to speed up that time to innovation or that customer quality? And really thinking about this from the perspective of your stakeholders, not just the engineers that are using these at the end of the day, but also those SRE teams that you're partnering with or those security teams that you're working with. And really, what is that minimum viable product or valuable product that you can build out so that you can deliver incremental value and get people using your platform early? And so as we start to think about that example that I shared around Black Friday, around reliability, how do you work with SRE teams to ensure that your whole engineering organization is prepared to handle incidents quickly? And so that can mean some self-service workflows around how do you deploy, how do you roll back, how do you restart or scale pods? How do you make sure you're automating runbooks so that every engineer, regardless who gets paged, knows exactly how to do this? Or even starting to create some better practices around observability and monitoring. Or maybe you're actually working with the security team ahead of a big compliance event like SOC 2 or end of year. And you're looking at self-service workflows for example, to get just-in-time secrets, or again, for some of that monitoring or visibility that security teams typically need. Maybe it's a package migration that you're going to be doing. And so that's really where internal developer portals come into this. When you think about that business goal, what you're trying to achieve, that oftentimes boils down into engineering initiatives like making sure that you know who owns what so that you can drive reliability, so that you can drive security, so that you can drive standardization and guardrails. And so what Cortex does and what a lot of internal developer portals do is we like to start with data, getting everything into your catalog so that you can gain complete visibility into all of your software assets. Whether that's repositories and services or infrastructure, how do you bring in all the information from all the different tools that all teams are using into one place to give you a single pane of glass? Because once you have this data there, you can start unlocking insights. You can start to establish best practices, and we like to call them scorecards, but really, at the end of the day, it's a checklist. Does every service have an owner? Does every service have monitors and SLOs? Does every service have an incident on-call process with 3 levels of escalations? Does every service have self-service flows to run back, deploy, anything that you might want to do? And then really creating a consistent developer experience around these so that you're able to make sure that everyone is doing things in the right way and really achieving that business outcome around customer experience and quality. And I'd like to leave you with a real world example. So I've been working really closely with the team at Archer. If you're not familiar, it's a data and compliance management platform, but they met Cortex at AWS reInvent 2 years ago, and they were really focused on unlocking innovation and time to market. And one of the big problems that the leaders had was that they did not know when a new service was scaffolded, if it had been deployed, if it was ready, if it was up. And so how do you ensure this? Well, really you can build out those self-service workflows to create new services with infrastructure scaffolded that meet your best practices from day one. And so you start to ensure, one, that everyone's building things the same way, that you have standardization, that you have those guardrails, but also you're really speeding up innovation. They estimate that they've saved approximately 24 hours per engineer per new service created.